you know, like significant, thousands and thousands of tires.
Technical. Since this meeting is being recorded and both audio and video, we'll ask that everybody, when they're ready to speak, to please raise their hand and state their name clearly so that it can be recorded. And if you wish to speak remotely, just be patient with us so we can see if you need to speak by raising your hand. Until then, if you can keep all your mics muted, that'll help with reducing the feedback. So this is the Conservation Commission, and the first thing that we have to do is elect our officers for this coming year. The roll call, roll call.
Michael DiLorenzo.
Present.
Tom Heisler.
Present.
Guy Hoffman. Asked excused, I believe.
Yes.
Carl Lewis.
Present.
Karen Pagliaro. Don't see her. Mary Catherine LaRose. Present. Robert Ramsey.
Present.
And your alternate, Peter Zarabozo.
Karen's coming back.
Oh, Karen's coming down the hall. Just Karen Pagliaro. Peter.
It's here over here.
No. Peter Zarabozo is after.
Yeah, no, you can sit.
You have
Thank you. Hi, Karen. Yeah, more than. Okay, thank you. So we got Peter, we don't know. Now, to elect officers for this coming year. Yes, Carl.
Carl Lewis, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Michael DiLorenzo for chairman of the Conservation Commission.
I second.
Are there any other nominations? Yeah, forgot. Thank you. All in favor of the aforementioned?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for the honor, and as I always ask, we need help. So please let's continue doing what we're doing and help everybody. The position for vice chair.
I nominate, make a motion to nominate Guy Hoffman vice chair.
Second. Oh, sorry.
You can have it. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? And Guy did acknowledge that he wishes to be nominated for that. So, all in favor of voting for Guy Hoffman vice chair? Aye. So moved. Thank you very much, everybody. A couple more housekeeping items here. Minutes, last month's meeting. A motion for that.
Move acceptance.
That's written.
Yeah, written.
Any other comments on the minutes? Karen, you seconded it? Everybody? Yeah. All in favor of accepting the minutes as written? Aye.
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. So moved. Thank you. Okay. Jim, are you still with us? In spirit.
I'm here. Yes.
Wait, was looking for Brian Wolf. Is he?
I will be representing Brian this evening.
He will be.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to move item number 3, the Team Red Dragon Mountain Bike Race at Hatchery Brook, up to number 1.
Second.
Thank you, Rob.
He got it this time.
All in favor of moving it, reordering? All right, so moved. Thank you. So this is the high school bicycle annual bicycle race. I'm just for everybody else here.
Correct. My name is Greg Ferraris. I'm the youth programs director for the Connecticut Cycling Advancement Program. We are a youth cycling organization. So we have, in conjunction with the Berlin High School, hosted a mountain bike race at Hatchery Brook and Bicentennial Park For the past 5 years, barring, or 7 years, 5 additions starting 7 years ago. 2 years it didn't happen, one because of COVID, and I believe the previous one because of a rain event. So we're looking to do it again on Sunday, May 21st, 2023, time frame from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. We're looking at about 200 to 250 people throughout the day, so approximately 75 to about 90 on site at any given time. We have a course map. Parking will be located on Linden Drive in Summitwood. We have an emergency plan to coordinate with Berlin Fire Department, EMS, first responders. We also want to make a notice to regular users by posting signs around each kiosks and also notifying residents on Summitwood Drive and Linden Drive. And then also the trail protection measures following the International Mountain Bike Guidance International Mountain Bike Association's guidance calling for cancellation of the race at 1 inch or more is collected within 24 hours of the start of the event, or using our best judgment, if it rains like 4 inches on Thursday, you know, doing our due diligence to mitigate any significant erosion. But essentially, it's the same race that we've been hosting for the past few years, and barring any concerns or any sort of other activities happening this year, we'd love to be able to proceed with it.
Yes, Carl. I was looking at the latest course map. You know, and if there is a change in the course at all from last year,
I do not believe there is at the moment. I mean, unless something's changed on the trails, we were going to try to keep it as close as to what it was in the previous year.
Yep. I'll say that this is something that the first year that they came in here 7 years ago, I didn't necessarily think I would support, but the organization and Jim Arnold as well have been fantastically responsive to all of our concerns. I personally walked trails with them after the event a few years, and they've been responsive to it. And so I would have no problem supporting this.
I agree.
Thank you. I'm a Berlin resident as well, so I'm new to the organization, but I, definitely take walks in bicentennial park, so I have some ownership in it as well, aside from bike race.
Good, and it's a real. I like what you do with working with the neighborhood.
Yep.
Letting them be aware, and actually in advance for the people that walk through the park, knowing that this is coming on a certain weekend, and it's good. It's a good plan.
Also being mindful about like the actual course itself and intersections with kind of caution tape or course tape as we call it. Just so if people are using it, they have an idea of where the cyclists will be coming from and an idea that it's going on. So yeah.
Good. I think it's a good thing. Kids involved.
Motion to allow that to proceed?
Yeah, I think so. We make the motion, and I think it's got to go.
Then we take it to town council. So you're making motion to support it, or up here for that to go down to town council.
Second. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor of supporting the motion for the Red Dragon? Aye. So moved. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much.
Good luck with it.
Yeah, keep up the good work. Watch the weather.
You never know if we don't have snow in February, maybe we'll have it in June.
Thank you. So you got that, Maureen.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Okay, sorry, Jim, for the false start there, but you're up.
All right, thank you. So as the commission knows, staff has been working on a couple of concepts for recreational trails grant applications. And these are grants that are given by the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. We've gotten these grants before to make improvements to our trail systems. And the two concepts that we're trying to advance. One is for Hungerford Nature Center, which is owned by the city of New Britain. The property is in Berlin, owned by the city of New Britain. They have a trail system along with the nature center, and they like to make improvements to the trails. There's some wet areas, so we would have bog bridges. There's a lot of downed trees. We would take care of those invasives, removing invasives, planting native plants, doing some some educational signage, and we're going to planning on putting in a new gate, getting them some tools to maintain the trails in the future, and creating tree identification sign, as we did at Bicentennial Park, and Heidi Brierly has volunteered to help us with the tree identifications. And we also like to get their trail system on our GPS system. And we've also talked recently, of course, with the commission about, updating our trails information on apps. So we'll do that as well. So that's the basic project for Hungerford. Then and we have discussed this with the city of New Britain, and I believe that they're supportive. Then the second project is the Lamentation Mountain Pistol Creek area, and that project is a joint project with the city of Middletown. Middletown's going to take the lead on the application, so we're submitting our budget and our work into their work. The city of Middletown, Mark Kozakowski, the town planner, city planner, is our liaison. He was planning on joining us tonight. I got called away for some things, so I'll try to answer any questions that might be directed at him tonight. But the project has multiple facets. In 2022, Berlin and Middletown both purchased portions of the former Pistol Creek Golf Course. So now the towns own the entire former golf course. And we recognize that the golf course is in close proximity to Lamentation Mountain and its trail systems. And we know that the Berlin Land Trust has recently purchased the property just over the Middletown line in Middletown. That includes part of the trail, and there's a lot of protected property on Lamentation Mountain. So the idea of the project was to improve the Pistol Creek cart path network as a walking and recreational resource. In 2018, 2019, we redid a couple of our cart paths on the north side of Spruce Brook Road. And we created a handicap parking space there and a section of the cart path that's handicapped accessible based on grade. And of course, since then, the town recently has established a dog park in that vicinity as well. So we did the easternmost parts of those trails. So just walking you through the ideas for the Berlin portion of the grant and then the Middletown portion of the grant. So we would like to repave, let's say, the next third of the cart paths in that northwest quadrant. And again, the cart paths are walkable now, but we'd like to keep them in better condition. They're very well used. And of course, we benefit from having a good parking situation at the former clubhouse. So that's one aspect of it. And then we are looking at the idea of creating a off-road walk between Pistol Creek and the trailhead on Spruce Brook Road, not on Atkins. There you go. Yeah. So the trailhead on Spruce Brook Road, try to get that off the road, but in the right of way. And then there's a couple of parking spaces, one or two, I guess, at Spruce Brook Road, where the trail goes in, and we would like, and that's the existing Metabesset Trail, which is also part of the trail system called the New England National Scenic Trail, or the NET. that includes the Metabesset, the Metacomet, and the Monadnock trails, and it runs from Long Island Sound to New Hampshire. So that we're fortunate to have that trail system going through Berlin. So the next piece would be as you go south on that trail section along the Stantec Road right away, there are some wet areas, and we'd like to do some bog bridges there. So, and also we would do some signage in conjunction with Middletown for the overall project. So those are the main pieces of the project in Berlin. Now in Middletown, they also want to improve cart paths, which are east, right? That area east of Atkins Street. And they own a property that's just south of Pistol Creek. So it's an open space property that they, again, require with their open space funds. They like to put a trail through that property and then back into connect to Stantec Road right away, and then into the trail system going north at the Berlin line to the Metabesset Trail. And also, so they're going to create a new trail across that open space property. And the second is along the Stantec Road right away from north to south. They would be improving the right of way so that it is walkable. And you see some of the areas where they're indicating that a bridge or a bog bridge would be needed. And then as you go south, there's a Middletown has a conservation area called the Wilcox Conservation Area in the vicinity of Footed Drive, and they have trails down there. So basically, they want to connect that that trail network. So those are the main elements of the project, and I guess with that, we may have others. For example, from Hungerford. I don't know if Donna Veach might be there. That might want to say a few words, and then we would just open it up for comments.
Perfect.
I am here. Thanks for working on this, Jim. I don't know if anybody has any questions. We're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. Trails are used really quite a bit for local residents primarily. Although some people do come from afar, they're beautifully spread out. There's a pond there. We've got a meadow. There's a small pine grove. There's some wetlands, so we'll be using some of those bog bridges, hopefully. It'd be great to utilize the existing trails with some of the programming that we do so that we can teach the children how to conserve, how to be good to nature, how to be stewards of the environment. It would tie in very nicely. We maintain the trails ourselves. We get pretty much no help, even though the city of New Britain does lease the property to us. It's our thing, so we have to take care of it. We have a very small staff, so it would be nice to be able to give these guys a facelift. They're intertwining, as you can see, and really they are used extensively. It's a hidden gem, it really is. So if we're able to do some of this, I think it will be additional people in the community out to experience it. Does anybody have any questions? Jim, I think we're good.
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you. It's long overdue, and we get wood chips and we try to keep the trails up, and we have a little, when we have big storms, we've got some runoff that happens, and that's always an issue that you have to deal with. But a lot of them are trails that were ridden. I don't know if anybody, I'm going to date myself now. We rode horses back there in the day. 35, 40 years ago when we were back in high school, maybe longer. And Judge Hungerford did give us the city of New Britain the property, and they lease it to us for $1 a year or something. So it's and they support us tremendously, even though it is Berlin land. We do tons of educational programs, special events for children and adults. So it's not just a very small group, it's a large group of people. So we have our regulars that come every single day there. So it's a nice place. Yep.
I think it's good too, anytime that you have any collaboration and more people can know about them. Like you say.
I think this will bring additional people there and let people know that we're there. So thank you, Jim, for working on this.
Yes,
thank you all for considering this proposal. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. I think make a formal motion on that.
Yep.
Just make one more announcement. This is a public. Just because we have
Just for a procedural item, just to let everybody know. Basically, this item will also have an item on the Berlin Town Council agenda next Tuesday night to consider these, and then the council would formally authorize the submission of the applications or support of the application that Middletown would be the lead on, and also would authorize the funding for match. This is an 80-20 grant, so 80% from the state, 20% is local. Some of that can be in kind. So we're working together, like with Hungerford, for example. It would be, we're projecting like a $5,000 match from the town, and then $5,000 a cash match from Hungerford, and also in kind to make up the rest of the match. So I just wanted to let everybody know that there is a two-step process, and we will be going to the council next week as well.
I still think we can support it formally.
Yes, please do if you're so inclined.
Yes, Michael.
I was just going to ask if the Hungerford and the Middletown grant are taken together. This is one grant application.
It's one application.
Okay.
That Jim has put to.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be two applications. So. Yeah, two separate applications, because again, Middletown will be the lead.
I don't have any comment in regard to Hungerford. I think it's a great idea, but I wanted to speak to the lamentation. Yeah. So if it's together, I would speak now, but if it's separate, okay. So if it's just Hungerford, then.
Anybody else have any questions on Hungerford before we move on to one page?
So motion to continue support rather, I guess is the better term. Thank you. The proposal for these projects, we're just focusing on Hungerford. Right. For the Hungerford one at this time.
Mary Catherine, thank you. Any other comments? All in favor of supporting the motion support the motion for the town council to apply for the grant and fund Hungerford Park Trail Improvement Project. Thank you. That was kind of a convoluted word. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. Lamentation.
Or I think Jim.
Yeah, Jim's done. So yeah.
Yes. Good afternoon or good evening now. Attorney Mike Carrier here for Kevin Fudney, owner of property that's adjacent to the Middletown track, where the trail would come up from Atkins Road and connect to Lamentation. So if I may just step over and show you what we're talking about. Okay. All right. So you have Pistol Creek up here. And then this is Mr. Budney's property here. It part of it is in Berlin, and then it's an odd shaped property, and it goes up right up to the existing trail, and then it cuts back across here and then comes here. So Middletown's property is in here. So the this map doesn't really show it.
I was going to say, Maureen might have that map, that adjacency map. Do you have that, Maureen?
Is this the adjacency? This is the adjacency map. It shows it much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. This works. This works, Jim. Yeah. Okay. So right now, it's 17 and 5. Okay, and it's one farm, so you access it. There's a gate here on Atkins Road, just over the line into Middletown. So the Mr. Bunny, and he lives on the other side over here, right up there. But he purchased this a number of years ago to farm this land, and he grows corn and pumpkins on here, and it opens up to a field here and over here. And over here as well. Okay, so what Middletown is proposing is that there's a parking facility over here, and then the trail runs up, and then it jogs left, comes around, and then meets up with the other trail, right? And what we're walking it today, and coming up from this way, and you can see that if there's a hiking trail coming up this way, and people know they're coming over here, they're going to go right across the field to there. They're not going to follow the marked trail around his property. And he spent after the first couple of years of owning this property, he spent an awful lot of time and money trying to prevent ATVs and dirt bikes from using it and basically tearing it up. So he was with down trees and just earth. He's like made berms around it to prevent them from coming up onto it. But while we're asking, I know this is early stages, is that and I guess it would be Middletown, consider moving the trail, the parking area south on Atkins, so that it would be more of a straight shot to connect to the trail rather than coming up and around, because people, just human nature would tell you that they're just not going to go around. They're going to see this really not, it's beautiful up there, as you can imagine, and they're going to see this big open field, and they just want to walk across it. And the problem is, once you open it up for a hiking trail, then that's when the dirt bikes and the ATVs come to, because as much as you can sign it, say, this is, no motorized vehicles and such, they're going to come. And like I said, he's trying to grow crops here, and we're just afraid that by having it so tucked up against his property, that it's going to really negatively affect the property, and that this is very swampy here where it's drier here. So we hope that while the application go in, the commission could support moving the proposed actual trail more southerly, so that's more of a straight shot out to the Lamentation Trail. It's something that Mr. Bunny over the years has done a lot to support the town, and is even willing to help with some of the costs of the improvements here, if you can get a little consideration on just moving it out. Because if you were to be up there like we were today, you can see how it's just human nature again, that they're going to go right across his property. And so no matter how many signs you have up there. And so we're just asking for a little consideration when the time comes. Because at this point, when I understand this is an application for funds to do this venture, that nothing is carved in stone as far as the actual location of the maps. Because there are other maps showing like where the proposed trail would come, and it literally cuts up straight up here, and then comes around here, and then goes back up, and that's that again. This is the site we're talking about. They have the parking tucked up in here. When if it was down closer to here, it would be more of a straight shot, right? And if it was more expensive to move it that way, then we'd be willing to help with those costs, just to keep people away from the private lands. So
that makes sense.
So I just wanted to, and likewise, and if there isn't any need for funding here, if there was need for additional funding at Hungerford, you'd be willing to consider that. But it's just asking for, this was, purchased just as a place to just farm in peace, and it's a lovely you know, spot up there, and just doesn't want to get destroyed. That's all. So I think that's about it. And of course, we're happy to answer questions if you have any.
Michael, if I could just comment and I did talk to Michael Carrier this morning. We have talked to Kevin Budney. We understand that he has these concerns. We've raised this issue with the city of Middletown, and they are willing to consider relocating the trail to the south if they can find a reasonable route. So I think they would be cooperative in this venture. There are a lot of wetlands on the site. That's our major obstacle, but we're hopeful that we can find the route farther south that would be more acceptable to Mr. Budney. So yeah, I have no problem in the commission supporting it with that caveat, with the request to Middletown to, you know, work with the property owner and relocate the trail to the south if possible.
Thank you. Yeah, we were hoping Mr. Kosakowski would be here too, so we could show him as well. But we'll meet with him, I'm sure, and see what we can do. Thanks.
We can set up a meeting, Michael. So
okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think the key now, the conceptual plan, you know, this application has to get into the state rather quickly. So things can be tweaked and modified. It's going to be a long process, very long process. So I don't see any reason why.
So on the other end of the spectrum on the map, we are lot 8 that you see there. Okay. And 7, 8, 7 and 8, yep. And I'm concerned about the Hanson.
Can you tell us just who you are?
Hanson. Hanson.
Hanson.
Jill Hanson.
Thank you.
So we're on the other end. And I guess my concern is where the trailhead is coming out. It's like directly across the street from our home. And I am concerned about the traffic there and how you propose to get them on the street, up the road to meet up with the trail in a safe manner and what that would, you know, entail.
Okay, maybe Maureen, could you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Are you speaking about this right here?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are you talking?
Maybe we could pull up the other map.
Yes, on Spruce Brook. You might want to pull up the other map and then bring it
okay,
down.
I'm sorry.
Do you have the? Yeah. Do you have the that other map that I emailed you today, Maureen?
Yeah. Different than that one.
The Spruce Brook Road walkway now.
So right now they're supposed to be fixing this bridge eventually, and they're supposed to be putting an overlook onto the old Simeon North pistol factory. And that parcel right there, right before the brook where Simeon's pistol factory was, we're across the street from there. Yes, that's us, the farm. And the trail, I mean, it's a man-made trail. It never was there years ago, but it has become a path in. And from the map, it looks like you would be using that to come out to Spruce Brook and then go up the street to where Havers were and connect with Stantec. So my concern is how that would be done in a safe manner, being on the road, the cars fly on that road. It's kind of comes down into like a little, I don't know, gully with the brook. So that's my concern, is the safety. I know that crosswalks have been put in up across from the parking lot, and it slows the traffic down some, but not, you know, it's very high traffic there.
Are there sidewalks
No, there is not sidewalks.
I would say, you know, again, as with the previous question, I mean, we'd be happy to, you know, work with you further on this part. If the idea of it was that, you know, people can walk between Pistol Creek and the trailhead anyway, but they would be on the road now. And is there a way that we can make it safer for them than being, you know, walking the whole length along the road? So that's our objective, if it's possible. And we'd be happy to, you know, kind of continue to have a dialogue with you on this particular piece of it. And if, you know, if we can't find something that's going to be, you know, acceptable to the neighbors there, we just wouldn't do it as part of this phase of the project, and see what happens when we do the rest.
Not to interrupt, but I was almost thinking like Budney too when I was looking at this. Is there a way to push that trail closer towards the brook? Rather than, you know, it's going to cause more traffic in front of my home, I guess is what I'm saying. More foot traffic, more cars pulling over. They pull over already there. They're not supposed to, but they do.
Yeah, I guess as I remember the topography.
I just don't like that it's right here in the house. To be honest. Oh, people pull over there all the time. Pick up people, you know, from walking, stuff like that. Yeah. What's that car doing parked there? You know, my kids. But
could I ask, is there going to be any additional actual parking off-road for this trailhead or this trail? Is that part of any proposal that you have in there, Jim?
No, we were looking to, you know, the parking space that's there now at Stantec. We're going to take a look at that. Maybe, you know, if it needs gravel or whatever to improve that, that's all. But no additional parking on the street is planned. We have, you know, again, quite a bit of parking at Pistol Creek already. And you know, I'm not anticipating that this is going to be like, you know, floods of people, you know, walking between those two areas. It's going to be an occasional people making that connection, but you know, it is proximate. So it can be convenient for hikers, and that, you know, if they want to hike this whole loop, and we're, you know, providing some potential new loop trails for people to hike. So I would anticipate there'll be some traffic, but it's going to, that additional traffic along Spruce Brook, I think it's going to be, my guess would be it would be minimal. So that's just my expectation. And I wanted to get back to another point that Mr. Carrier had made earlier, and just I guess just to say that our experience has been, when we have more hikers that are using the trails, that seems to discourage ATV activity. And obviously we have the police patrol ATV, you know, ATV patrol also that will respond or does patrol occasionally when they have time. But you know, we certainly had a lot of ATVers in the old days, even at Ragged Mountain, and certainly at, you know, Hatchery Brook, and that seems to have gotten, you know, much more under control as people are using it more for hiking. So that's been a positive experience. We hope the same will happen here.
Yes, Joe.
So back to the trailhead thing. Is there any way that you guys could at least look into that and see if that could get pushed more towards the brook and just come out further towards
we can look at it in the field and do whatever we can. I had talked to you know, I talked to the engineering department about whether we could get a sidewalk on the bridge, but I think we're too far along in the planning to do that. But you know, we'll look at that. I mean, obviously, as my recollection of the topography there is, it does, you know, there is a slope down to the brook. So, you know, we'll get it up over there as you know, this is just conceptual. So we'll go as far as we can on the north side. before we cut across.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Good. That's something. Ask a question.
It's been answered.
Carl.
I'd like to make a motion then. All right. We also comment. I'd like to make a motion to support the concept and recommend council activate on this collaborative grant for Pistol Creek and then Station Mountain area. And maybe in my motion, I would note that the Conservation Commission, and I'm not speaking, that's what I'm trying to speak to the Conservation Commission here, is sensitive to the concerns of affected landowners or contiguous things.
All in favor of supporting the motion for the grant application? Aye. The other good thing about this is typically the state open space grant funding. They like it when communities collaborate. It's a real, I think that'll be a real big bonus for the scoring system. So hopefully this will come through.
Well, there's support.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for the hearing.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. That's it, Jim, right? What you need?
Yeah, that's it for that. Unless you, if we're talking signs, I'll stick around.
Yeah, you want it? Yeah. Carlos, good night. Thanks. Nice to meet you, Kevin. Thanks.
Take care. Thank you.
All right.
Good to see you too, Kevin.
Do you have
No.
Yes. So in terms of signs, so I haven't done a formal inventory of the signs.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming in.
Two quick questions. Oh, sure. The rates, I didn't realize this, Brian. The mowing of the field.
Which field? What,
This is down on the bicentennial, and not bicentennial, by Hadley Brook. At the bottom where the rates.
So sheer, yeah.
Yeah. What's that?
That's sheer property. I'm sorry.
Sheer property.
Orchard Road was.
Would we, it's been taken care of in years past to be able to kind of, you know, where the start is, and last one we were down, all of it was mowed, but is there somebody to Steve Lloyd that's be my hat here?
Right, so
they can come through our office as well, and we'll hook up with Steve Wood, who'll just coordinate it.
You can't mow the whole field now. They mow the trail path that you go through.
Exactly.
Because the ground nesting season is still ongoing.
Gotcha. And then fee waivers, we get police department, get updated rates and
I know. Do that. It's got to be part of the town council action. Is to waive the fees.
Yep.
So you'll contact the police department, find out what those fees are, and submit it all. So we can put it as one package for the town council.
Okay, so we have the approval for this for you guys. That goes to the town council. Yeah, when it all goes together.
When it goes to the town council, we'll want to. It's best if we have it before it goes to town council, so I can package it as one time to town council instead of going back to them multiple times.
Gotcha. When would this go to town council?
So next week's the first meeting and the second meeting of this month. So it's probably the first meeting in March, first Tuesday of March. Okay. Most likely.
How many times does town council meet?
Twice a month.
Twice a month. Okay.
First and third Tuesdays.
First and third Tuesdays.
Then I need it over a week in advance of that. So.
Gotcha.
And I think it's good with whatever you submit to emphasize the high school involvement, Jim Arnold and the club there.
We actually have a template of the way it's been written every year. I change the dates.
Exactly.
All right, thank you very much.
Update the fees and stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Signs call.
So my initial problem or my initial comments on signs from last, and I know this may be a separate thing that Jim's going to talk about. Talk about signage and where we need new signs. I was concerned about the condition of the signs that we had out there, as well as new signs. Right. And that was my concern came from the fact that one or two signs or kiosks were down at Bicentennial Park, right at the beginning of the open field, the field formerly known as the dog park. And that has been, that kiosk has been repaired by Mr. Woods. And he said it fell down on its own. I tried to get to every sign that I could in town between that meeting and this meeting, and I haven't gotten to all of them, but they're all in reasonably good shape. And Jim, those signs that we purchased, the big green signs that we purchased several years ago, have actually held up pretty well. The only thing I saw was a little bit of fading, certainly nothing that warrants replacing them at this time. So I think we're in pretty good shape. I think we could use a sign here or there, but and I haven't done a complete inventory. But I was concerned that we were going to have a bunch of either graffiti or just broken down old sign, and that wasn't the case as I mentioned.
All right, thanks. So you continue to work on an inventory of where.
Yeah, I mean, so for example, we don't have one of those big green signs at Quarry, right? Beckley Quarry, but I'm not sure we even own that, right? So would you want to put a big sign there? We have a small sign, a little sign that says no motorized vehicles, nothing like that. So I don't know if we did that strategically. Likewise, yeah. So there are places that we could put signs that we may not have chosen to. For example, the other side of Cross Creek Drive, it doesn't have a trail yet. We don't have a sign there. Not the one that goes in towards Sierra, what we used to call Sierra Ranch, but the other side that goes in towards Bicentennial. I mean, there's a lot of places we can put signs, but I'm not sure that would just be excessive.
Well, I think we need to come up with a spreadsheet or a list, and then we can prioritize. For good. Keeping in mind budget year.
Yeah, we need to spend. We need to be mindful of spending. Correct.
Yeah.
Get it in for this year because of the deadlines for getting the signs made, getting them item in, and getting them billed out for the end of the year.
I also noticed that there was, and I don't know if this is under the topic of signs, but there's some outdated kiosks in Hatchery Brook that could probably be used to be updated. And I think probably it's been a while since they could have been used to be updated. And I'm thinking about at the top of Kensington, the Kensington Road, small parking area there, right on Kensington Road, Cross Creek, and Orchard Road.
Kensington Road, the little two.
Yeah, and once you go in, and there's kiosks in various states of repair in that property. I'm not sure that that's something that can be commenced with our whatever this street landmark. Actually, it's Gateway and Orchard. So you go up Kensington Road from Orchard Road. You go up that slope.
Yeah.
But you get to about the top of that slope, it's right there. Oh. There's only one or two spots there, but it's a beautiful place to walk.
So if the kiosks are in state of need of repair, it's easier to replace them with a sign.
Well, see, what the kiosks do is they have trail maps.
Yeah,
those trail maps. I think some of them are outdated. They are on some of them. It's an effort though to go in. I don't know. CFPA would have the expertise on that.
I think they could keep the sign making now. They can put anything on a sign. You can make a CAD draw or a PDF.
Yeah.
Burn red when I say burn.
I don't know what your thoughts on that are, Jim.
Yeah, I have to look at them again. I mean, we can replace some of the faces. Some of them have, like a sign like insert as opposed to, being on the, on the metal sign, for example, itself. And
do we own all that? Do we own all those signs? Because for example, at the beginning of the Amelia Green Trail, or rather at the end of the road that goes to the pavilion at Timberland, there's a CFPA looking sign, and it's in disrepair. It's a kiosk that the sign inside is in disrepair. I don't know if we put that up or if CFPA.
Yeah, we put one up by the Amelia Green. I mean, at Timberland. So that one was done by Sign Pro. I think most of the rest of them have been done by Vital Signs. So it's a little different, but
yeah, no, I think I'm talking about on the other side of the road there. There's a trail map.
Okay.
Fallen down.
Yeah, I mean, CFPA might have put up a sign too. I mean, they also did one at, obviously we also had the historical sign at Ragged, for example. But I think we put them up at most of the areas, and again, we talked when we were talking to Jenner. I don't have my mind into signs today. I would have my mind into recreational trails.
Yeah.
But we talked about it last month. We know we have the list. We have like the Amelia Green sign that we want to replace and all that stuff, and we have the new properties like the one on Reservoir Road that we want to put some signage on, at least get some basic signs out there. And and then I think we said we wanted an additional main kiosk sign. It could have been for it could have been for Beckley Quarry, but to get one out at to kind of get at least one out at all the sites was a goal. So I think there's more things that we want than we have money right now, and we just have to decide what we're going to do. Get that done, and July is going to come before you know it. So, if we get focused, we can jump right into it next fiscal year.
Hi, Catherine Shask is here. Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Good.
Hi. I just wanted to mention, I live right at the end of Cross Creek, and the gentleman was talking about putting a sign there. There's really no trail that you can go down at that end of Cross Creek.
Right. Actually, thank you, Catherine. This is Carl Lewis.
Hi, Carl.
Hi. So there used to be a trail there. It's somewhat disrupted. I'm not speaking for the commission, just speaking for myself right now. I would love to see that opened up again, because it would give an alternate access to what for better or worse is called, the back end of Bicentennial Park across Asbury Brook.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, for a long and really, once you get through the area that's just adjacent to the cul-de-sac, while it is a little wet back there, certainly there was a trail there for many years.
Yeah, I mean, there was a beaver dam there and everything. Really,
that was a big mess for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sensitive to that because I'm not sure if I was in your backyard at Bicentennial the other day, but they really took that out. Where are we now? Cross Creek?
Cross Creek.
Okay, so you see, I'm sorry to be in here. There's a trail that runs, and it kind of goes, you can see it falls off here, and there is some erosion damage right off the end, but no, that's okay. So Catherine, I'm not certain that you can, I'm sure you can't see what I'm looking at or that I'm pointing, but so right off of here, which is town property, right? And there is an access in there, just like there's an
there is.
Right. So
you can't go in very far. That's the thing, I can access it because I can go through my property.
Right.
That, there's no trail there, but we kind of just go through the you know, through the tall grass, whatever,
Sure.
to get to the dog, the old dog park. But I was just listening to you talk about the sign. I'm like, we really need a trail there.
Well, you know, so again, not speaking for the commission, just speaking for myself, and the idea of connecting, you know, these parcels of open space and opening up access to them. I would say that certainly there's an opportunity for a trail to go in right in here. And then there are some wetlands, but there was an existing trail, and certainly, if you can you pull back just a little bit?
And the other part, down the other end too.
Oh, there is one. That's beautiful access right there.
Yes.
But up here, you see, this is an area of I'm so sorry I did something there, but this is an area of Bicentennial that is not used as much. The bridge comes across somewhere over here. It's actually but this area, and it's beautiful up there. It really is.
It is. Yeah. I mean, we need a new bridge there, you know, and access, because that's all.
And it's not an easy. It's not necessarily an easy one. But, you know, I would love to see that go back in, because, you know, whether it was an old orchard road from when that was Rubick's Orchards, or just an access road that people were using before Cross Creek went in there. I walked it before Cross Creek Drive went in there. And so that's all I'm saying. I agree with you, Catherine. At this point, I agree with you to the extent that I don't think we need an open space sign there right now, because that would raise expectations, and then somebody
Yeah, a lot of people do try to park there, and then you see them go in, and 3 minutes later they come back out because they say, "Can we go in there?" I'm like, "Not really. There's no way." I also noticed when I was hiking there on the other side of Cross Creek, somebody took down the map of the you know, where the trails were. I don't know if you noticed that, Carl, but you know, at the other end of Cross Creek, that map is gone.
Yeah, I don't know that I noticed it, but I do know that there's a couple in the whole the larger parcel that are wrong. You know, they're outdated. I don't know what that one was. I can't remember.
Yeah, and another side, and I noticed too down back towards my end with the bridge and the trails there. Somebody took down the trail markers and they painted over what other colors were on the trees. So I don't know what's going on there. So I don't know if that has anything to do with you guys or not.
Catherine, possibly that was a reroute of an existing trail or something like that. I don't think that was, I'm not sure that was, I'm not sure some of that was malicious. I think that there was a reroute of a trail, and that's how some of those got glazed over.
Oh, okay. I got you there. Yeah, no, I didn't think it was malicious, but it does look like somebody's been playing bow and arrow over there too with some of the trees. But anyway, I don't know if this has anything to do with you guys, but I just thought I'd mention that there's some things going on in that whole trail area that
can I ask you,
be happening.
Catherine, can I ask you a question? Have you seen or heard back in that parcel any ATV abuse or use?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And even up on the top, on the other end of Cross Creek, way up on the top, as you're coming in from the parking lot, going up the hill, the gravel road, right at the top where that nice flat piece of land is, where it says Mary Bright Girl Scouts. Somebody's been there, you know.
Yeah, just recently. That's why I asked, is because I was up there last weekend, and I noticed that there had been some ATV abuse.
Yeah, there was a fire pit going there. It's been, I did contact the police department, so the fire pit is now gone, but it's a big mess and people have been there. But yeah, we've heard the ATVs on our end of the property as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you know, maybe you can just pick a couple of what you
greatest hits.
Your priorities. 2 priorities or something.
I'll put something in email to.
We take your
because I can't put it out to everybody, right? To me.
And me something that I can distribute for discussion at the next meeting.
Good. All right. Well, I'll do that. Now, let me write it down so I don't forget.
Thank you. All right, let's move along here. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Have a good night, all.
You too. Thanks.
Good night.
Appreciate it. So, if I pull it out. So we'll do, maybe we can get Carol here for the March meeting.
Yeah, I
We talked about this. Thank Marlo. Marlo's hand talent.
Nice.
Nice, isn't it?
Really nice. Where'd you have it from, Marlo?
I did.
Nice job.
I think we all need.
Let's print it out and put it in a frame.
Oh, you did. Thank you. Can you make a note to send her an email to?
Right in.
Yeah, so she can give us, give us this preseason update or something too.
Yeah.
That'd be a good time. Thank you.
No, while we're on that, I do have the community garden on here. Can we, as anyone have any comments, suggestions, changes? Like I said, I had hoped I would have gotten feedback from her. Of course, it could be in the emails I haven't gotten to yet. With regard to the garden, but we'd like to get out the applications and publish those. If the commission's okay with us just handling that administratively through our office, I appreciate it. And I'll work on the deadline dates, or the dates rather, of the garden being open with Woody to coordinate with the porta potties, as we discussed. I think in December we had the discussion about they had been kept. Some gardeners wanted to be gardening longer, and it created a little bit of a problem with some gardens not getting cleaned up because of the extended season where they weren't ready to stop gardening when the gate got locked because it was so nice out this fall. So if I could just work with Woody, but figuring still on the, what is it, November 1st, I think we put last year as well, for harvest and cleanup by October 25th. The annual crop should be harvested by October 25th. And then
what was the opening date?
I think it's I'm thinking May 1.
Yeah, well, you'll start getting
The bulbs are coming up now.
Getting earlier and earlier.
So say April.
Well, I was thinking sometime in April now. I mean, it just seems like
I'm sure where it is on here.
Listen,
so
it could be.
You may have May 1st, but I'm just thinking if gardeners are going to start pressuring them to get it able to get.
So you guys have always handled this administratively perfectly. So I would just start the ball rolling with Fran and.
It's in the garden rules too. I'm looking through the rules. I don't see the opening day when the garden opens.
You always have opening, yeah. But you know what? If you get pressure from gardeners that want to start earlier, then we can just modify it. Same thing with going later.
What about the porta potty? Would it be there?
Well, that's what she's gonna have to figure out with Steve Wood.
Yeah, the porta potty. We have to coordinate with the porta potty thing and opening. Sorry, I see it.
No, but it is also, well, people utilize it for hiking too, so.
Is there anything to do with freezing temperatures with porta potties? I mean, is there a reason?
No.
Can they be out all winter?
They use a saline solution. Yeah.
We have a contract that goes for all the facilities. So they're not separated. So it goes with field use of the sports fields and a number of other locations.
Yeah,
so it's pickup day, and otherwise it was costing each different department quite a bit of extra money because they weren't. That was changed. I'm gonna say like
we used to have to line up the budget every year.
When Helen first left, so 2017, I think we actually that was about the year it got changed to one contract.
Yeah. So I agree that one of these days it's going to be April 1st, but who knows? I mean, we say that now, and then we could have a muddy season.
Yeah, I don't think winter's over yet.
Karen, if you don't mind, I don't see it open. And we're also working to. Last year, we were told that some of the garden size choices didn't coordinate with the maps. So we're hoping that's rectified now too.
Some of the size will what?
Some of the sizes, there were 4 or 5 sizes on there where there's really only 3 sizes of garden plot. And so we'll eliminate the, I think there's a 20 by 20 that eliminated, the 20 by 25.
It might have been a vestige of history.
Yeah, I think they just weren't corrected.
How long has this garden been?
Yeah, wow. I mean, when did I start?
Camps.
Yes, I do.
I was on 7 years before, so I was the garden coordinator.
It was before you. It was Pat Bigelow.
Yeah, I took it from her.
She started it.
Yeah,
that was when I just came on.
Yeah.
Okay,
she was
so
in
if
something like that.
Yeah, so I came on in like 2012, so maybe 2010.
Yeah, I remember standing in front of the town council and one of the councilors, no, that wasn't one of the councilors, somebody else to be named, stood up and said it's going to become a hobo camp.
No, it's going to look like a hobo.
Look like a hobo camp. That's classic.
Just like, you know.
I haven't been to a lot of hobo camps, and
there used to be one along the railroad.
everybody got their handkerchief satchel on a stick.
Leatherman,
yeah.
Do a one-arm jump onto a freighter. I mean,
that's right.
And you know, we weren't able to put certain types of squash because I mean it was crazy when it first came out. I don't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Well, maybe it may have been just after this last one. Did you want more flex?
Spreads. It spreads. So it
was I don't know. Different.
I'll work with brown
zucchini.
Yeah, because it's.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I do too, but I don't like when like I'm gonna pick that tomorrow and then tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't see a date here either, but I can tell you there used to be one.
I'll work with browns on it.
My husband, sorry,
for squash. And if I don't see it, if you don't see it, go out a couple days later.
It's unbelievable.
Bread. Yeah, so that's good, Maureen. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll work with Steve and Browns and we'll make sure that we have it's that work both for
if they can get a porta potty earlier.
And I'll ask them when they start because they probably get porta potties a little earlier. It's the keeping it later that's more of an issue. I think, you know, because the fields have to be open probably in April.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know,
the ball fields?
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right, especially at Sage.
When they get
I'm starting to use them probably last week. Oh
yeah,
in this weather. But regardless, I'll talk to him about that. But if we can push it to before May.
So in the spirit of moving quickly here, the site plans that you have are all existing structures. So if you can just give us a quick on
all
that,
right, so yeah, I do like to give you guys the opportunity to provide no comment versus you know, me assuming that it doesn't affect you.
Right.
But the first one is a site plan amendment at the Eversource Trading Yard that's up off Selden Street. It's at the back entrance. They have a established area that's fenced in that they do training at, and they want to build a permanent building for the restrooms. And it was proposed, or rather discussed when they first moved the training area to that part of the site. But now they're actually coming forward with a permanent building there. The second one, amendment to the regulations, is very specific to the TOD project and the core area 1, where the regulations currently don't allow residents on the first floor, and they're going to make a modification to that TOD plan to eliminate parking garage on the multifamily buildings that have been approved as you enter Steel Boulevard into the train station. Again, substantially built out site, or will be, it's already approved to be built out. And so 2 and 3 are both relating to that.
No, just a question on number 1. Is there any, so there's going to be no increase in pervious surface when they build the
There may be an increase in impervious surface because it's a building and a good amount of their surface area is gravel up there. I haven't been up there.
Because that's the only thing I can think about. It's on a hill, right? So
yeah, I guess we got concern about drainage, what they're gonna do.
So I'll make sure engineering will be looking at it regardless. I don't know if,
that would be
if their comments came in yet.
Running back down, I don't know, Cold Spring Brook or whatever. I don't know.
Right into the new housing development.
I was gonna say into Metro, really these new
housing.
Is it
apartments.
It's just a tremendous
11
amount.
buildings.
It's a tremendous amount.
I want to say it's like 18 different.
Oh yeah, no, there's several hundred.
That is happening everywhere.
Yeah, and that's not an issue for us. It's an issue for other infrastructure services, you know.
Yeah, you ding ding ding.
Yeah.
So if you could officially make comments.
So I have a question before we make a comment.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so that was an official comment. You got that on the
impervious surface vis-a-vis drainage.
So if I remember right, Guy had said in one of the meetings that perhaps not to say no comment, but because we want to show that we reviewed it. So I'm wondering, should we say plan has been reviewed? We do not see any, at this time, we don't see any issue with moving forward or something to that effect.
No conservation commission concerns identified.
You know, so this time, at this time.
At this time.
At this time.
At this time.
You know, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, except, you know, for something like 2 and 3, we're never going to have. You know, I'm all for reserving a right to comment. But if they're changing a zone to make sure, you know, so you can have a restaurant there, now you can have people living there.
I get it.
I just have a question.
You're right, though. It's good practice that we got to start practicing that, though, I think.
I'm good with it. I'm just saying, you know, like, when are we ever going to comment on this outside?
Oh, yeah.
No, because it'll be built before we even see it again.
What was the verbiage you used? Did you write that down? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were ready to
Conservation commission concerns identified.
At this time. At this time.
Am I saying that or not saying that? I don't know. They're the ones who make. They're the ones
I think it'll make Guy happy too.
Yeah. Say it one more time. No conservation commission. Concerns identified.
That's for both of the
number 2 and 3.
2 and 3, right?
Yes. What about number 1? Oh, there was.
Yeah.
About impervious surface.
Would require adequate drainage with, and I kind of put Cold Spring.
Adjacent waterway.
Adjacent waterway, that's.
Michael, do you remember a couple meetings ago, there was something with, I don't even remember the business, but it's on Fort Rock Road. And they had like
sports thing?
Not a sports thing, it was building.
The addition to that steel sheet company.
I left you a message, I'm like,
oh yeah.
Well, it's way different now.
Oh, that was where it was just a loading dock or something?
It wasn't a loading dock, it was like a
open storage.
Open storage. And now it looks very different than what it was. Just, you know, I drove by the other day and I noticed.
Is that?
Fort
Rock Road.
What? Yeah, what a platform or whatever, and they were going to create open storage because we wanted it in.
You love it already,
yeah.
And now it looks higher, and I don't know what the material they were using, but it just looks so different from what they had before.
Are you talking about the sheet metal place?
Mm-hmm. I think so, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so they started construction of an addition that the town stopped them.
Right.
And they need to come in for a look unless something's happened in the last month that I kind of.
So maybe that's what
it is. See, I know they, I believe they went to wetlands or were pending the wetlands before they go back to the planning commission. Okay.
So wait, they didn't know they needed a permit?
Yeah, so it's looking, like I said, very different.
Oh, wait, they came in for the permit for the open storage, but they didn't come in for a permit for an addition to the building?
Because it was open before.
Right.
I mean,
It
it
wasn't,
wasn't open.
no.
It looks
I
like
know
it
what you
was
mean,
struck-
yeah, yep.
I don't want to speak out of turn because it's
Okay.
been a while.
I just had a question, I'm sorry.
Thank you, no, that's really interesting.
Since we sent stop work orders out on them, but my recollection is a concrete pad appeared and then some sort of enclosure appeared and the building inspectors.
I think they got approved.
But they don't
I
need-
think they got approved for the open storage and tried to do something else.
Yeah,
I'm not
That's just my
sure that's
surmise.
true. I'm not sure that is accurate.
But still, it looks really different. Because I called her and said, no,
Possibly
I'm calling back. I just want to tell you this. You remember?
Well, as long as you guys know what's going on.
Right, yes, the Robin's agent, building inspector, and the assistant plan were all involved.
Stop looking from side to side. Thanks.
Not up to speed.
That's all right, well, it's understandable, good.
My husband tries me every.
So, that's it, anybody have any comments?
Just real quick, I spoke, and I did speak to Steve Woods about this, the Amelia Green Trail and the trail that runs parallel to it at Timberland Park has some significant recent blowdown. And so I'm going to be forwarding him a map of where I found the blowdown, and he says he's looking for work. So,
Oh, great, great.
I want to let you know that
Perfect.
just officially, so I don't just.
No, that's a concerned citizen too. Thank you for keeping your eyes open there. All right, anybody got any questions, comments? Anybody got a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning? All right, so move. Thank you, everybody. That was.